welcome back to another episode of Love and Gratitude. How are you? How do you feel? I hope you feel great. I hope you had a wonderful day so far because the weather is so nice here and I was already outside. I met my friends. As I told you before, we founded a book club and it's 4 of us, and it was so nice to see my friends and, just to spend time with them, to eat a cinnamon roll because I love cinnamon roll, especially in this cafe. They have the best cinnamon roll ever and I just loved it so much. And, when I was coming back, it's spring, and when I was coming back, I was driving through the fields and it was so pretty. It was so nice. All the beautiful flowers and, the green color and everything. It was just looking so pretty and so beautiful. And yeah, I'm super excited for summer, but, I'm enjoying spring so much because of the beauty of spring. And yeah, today I want to tell you a story that that changed my life, that changed me, and it happened in this month but last year. So I thought I'm gonna just talk about this event that happened to me, because as I said, it changed my life, and I think I'm not the only one who went through these kind of problems. So last year in April, I went through some, not just the April, but almost the whole year before April last year. I went through a very bad situation and very bad time with my parents. I had, all my life I had problems with my parents. I think I'm not the only one, and it was always so difficult. I just can't explain why. But, I came from a very, very toxic family. I mean, especially my parents, they came from a very toxic family. I mean, to clear something first, I love my parents and everything is fine now, but it wasn't. And last year in April, I went to my neighbor, and because she usually cuts my hair, and I went to her, and I was feeling so bad and I was feeling so drained on that day. I remember very well, and it was also the first days of spring, and yeah, so I went to her and she was cutting my hair, and all of a sudden she started talking about family problems. And there is one thing you have to know. I never talk about my family problems. I never talk about anything, I don't talk about my problems in general, like to other people. I don't share my problems. Now I do, but before I didn't really. I was very, very introverted in those topics because, it was just very private for me, and I was scared that they could use it against me. The knowledge, the problems, and so I never shared anything with anyone. Only with my cousin, because my cousin was the only one who was always supporting me and who was always there for me. So I'm so grateful for her, and I'm, she's still my best friend ever, my one and only cousin I can trust my whole life with, and she's always here for me. So anyways, besides her, I never told anyone about my family problems. But, all of a sudden, my neighbor, she started to talk about these things, but about her own problems. And it was like, she was telling me things which were so understandable and so compatible compared to my problems, to my situation, and so similar to my situation. And she was saying, Ruki, there is only one life we have here on this earth, and life is short. Life is too precious. Because of course she was telling me all the problems she went through with her mom or son, because she's already married and she's older, and she was saying things like, Ruki, really, you have to rethink your decisions, or whatever you want to do in life, or wherever you are, in which condition you are, no matter what, there are only Your parents who are always going to support you no matter what. Your parents are the people who are always going to be behind you, or who are always going to have your back. And no matter what happens, and no matter what kind of things you do to them or in your life, I don't know, if you messed up, if you made mistakes, or if you just had the worst, if you did the worst decision of your life, no matter what, your parents are the only people who are never going to judge you and who are always going to support you because they love you, because you're their child, and they will never abandon you. Never. And you know what? It doesn't matter what kind of mistake you do and how you treat your parents, but they are always going to forgive you. So, and also, time is going pretty fast, you know, and life is too short. We all know, we all realized it, especially after COVID, especially after 2020. And, you know, everything happens just so fast, and life could be over tomorrow. We never know. And so she said those things, and it was really like a message from God. It was like she was delivering those messages directly from God. Like, it was like God was talking to me through her. Because one thing you have to know also, I was not talking to my parents during that time. I was not talking to my parents for 9 months. Okay, for more than 9 months probably. Because the summer before April last year, I went on vacation with my parents and with my best friend back then. She was my best friend. We're still friends, but we're not best friends anymore. So we went on vacation to Turkey. We all went together, and she's not Turkish, but as you know, I'm Turkish and my parents, they're also Turkish. So I have, Turkish background. And we went to Turkey by car, and everything was fine until everything was not fine anymore. So we all started to have problems because, you know, somehow me and my friend and I, we came late to the meeting point, and my dad is super strict, especially when we're traveling, because he has the responsibility. And we are like kind of like a liability, and I understand, but you know, we're also grown-ups, we're adults, so we had so many problems, okay? I had so many problems with my parents, and we were going through a whole disaster. And it was so chaotic, and to travel with them, it was just the worst experience of my life. And in that time, I swore to myself, I swore that that I'm never going to travel with my parents anymore. Really, I'm never going to do that mistake anymore, especially not going by car. And you know, it was the last. Okay, I don't want to talk that big, and I don't want to, you know, say these words, but I never want to travel with them anymore. I mean, I would like to see them somewhere or meet them somewhere when they're already there or I'm already there, but I really don't want to travel with them anymore because they're, you know, it was just so stressful and so bad. So we went through a lot, and I went through a lot, and it was the worst experience of my life, as I said. And you know, I always had problems with my parents, but especially in that summer on that vacation, it was like so bad. And you know, it was even getting violent, really, like physical violence. I experienced physical violence. I'm not gonna tell you the details, but yeah, you just can't imagine how bad it was. And yeah, I don't want to remember this, but you know, of course, we have to go through so many things, and you know, life is teaching you. And you know, it's funny that I always went through these things with my parents, because but you know, I also kind of understand, because it was my test. God was testing me, and it was my you know, it was just my exam. And as you know, we always go through something, and I'm sure that you're also going through something right now, or you went through something already. because life has ups and downs, and God is always testing you because God loves you and God wants to make you stronger. And all these problems, they're always going to make you stronger no matter what, and no matter how heavy or no matter how big the problems are. But it was so difficult for me because to understand my own parents, why they were acting that way, because I loved them and they loved me, and I thought there was this love and we love each other, but then they were treating me so bad, and they especially so egoistic. And but not only they were egoistic, but I was also egoistic, and I was treating them also bad. So we were like fighting, and not just fighting, but it was very toxic because my dad, he was not listening to me, and he was not caring about my opinion, because he was like, okay, we're gonna move at 1 p.m. and it doesn't matter what kind of problems you have, you do what I say. It was like this. It was like a military, and like a military camp. But my dad was always like this. He was always that way. Like, we always had to do whatever he says, and we cannot be different or act different or just have a different kind of opinion. It has to be like the way my dad wants. It was always like this since my childhood, and especially for me as the first child. For me, it was horrible, really, and that's why I still don't have a good relationship with my dad, and I'm never gonna have. And I'm only grateful, really, that it's just peaceful, because there was a really bad time, like really, because I was a copy of him, and I'm still a copy of him, but I just don't want to admit that I'm just like my dad, because maybe that the firstborn daughters, they are just like their dads. And so you can imagine what kind of fights we had, because I'm just as him, just as disciplined and as him, and my word is the only word, my word is a rule, and everyone has to, be like the way I say and everything. Or, it's just that my dad was always very disciplined, and he was very dominant. So growing up that way, it was okay as a child, because we were children, and we could do it, because we were scared of our dad and everything. But then when I grew up, it was like my mind changed, and I changed, and everything changed, and which is very natural, because you change and you develop, and you become an adult. And that was the point where my dad couldn't accept this, where my dad just couldn't accept that we have our own opinions now, and we're like individuals who have their own opinions and their own way of thinking and their own schedules, So especially when you travel with someone, like you have to give up so many things, and you always have to find a compromise. But with my dad, it was not this way. You always had to do whatever he says, and for me, it doesn't work that way anymore. So basically, because of these things, we were always having problems, and for me, it was not that, I didn't care, like I didn't mind, But then one day it escalated very bad, and I was so desperate. It was the worst. It was one of the worst times of my life, and I'm never gonna forget. But of course, I forgave my parents and myself, and I'm still healing, because it was not easy. And I would I would definitely recommend you to do the same, like to heal whatever you can't digest, because then it will be stuck inside of yourself, and it will harm your health and your mental health. So coming back to the topic, my neighbor, she was talking to me in a way which was very like helpful, and very, very like a message, really. And then all of a sudden I realized that, her words were just directly perfectly fitting to my situation and to my condition with my parents, because as I said, I was not talking to my parents. And even though we were living in the same house, like we live here all together, and I was always going out of their way, and always just trying to eat by myself, trying to not eat with them. I never ate with them. I was not sitting on the same table. I was not in the same room as them. I was always, just being either in my room or at university or somewhere else, like outside. But I was always going out of their way, and I was trying to avoid them. I was like, because I didn't want to see them, especially my dad, because of what he did to me, and I just couldn't accept, because I was so identified with my ego, and it was still hurting me, and sometimes I still remember these times, and it still hurts sometimes, because I still can't imagine, why he was doing these things. But of course, he's such a kind person. Like, I don't want to talk here about him like he's a monster. He's not, definitely. He's a very nice person, but he just doesn't know how to treat his daughter, and he just has no idea, because I don't blame him for this because of his parents. Like, I understand, because his parents are also very toxic, and he went through a lot himself, like really bad things, and I just can't even imagine. And so, he's also not in a mental clarity, so, which is basically fine, but it's still not a reason to treat your child bad, or just because of some mistakes. And anyway, or just because of going through these things, you're not allowed to do the same things your parents did to you, the same things to your child, and it doesn't make any sense to me. But we live in a different world, we live in a different time, so it's just also kind of understandable, but also not. So and on that day, I came home after listening to my neighbor, of course, and she was talking, and it was directly, hitting my heart. And I was like, I realized that it was a message, and that I should change it now, because she's so right. I mean, she was so right. Life is too short. Life is precious. Time is precious. Your parents are the people who are always going to be there for you, no matter what, and who are always going to support you, no matter what kind of mistake you do, or what kind of decision you do, or what kind of choice you make. It doesn't matter. Because at the end, if you act like me, and if you completely avoid your parents for so many months, and if you don't talk to them, if you are rebelling against them, and if you're treating them bad, then, at the end of so many times, like of so many months, and no matter how long it's going to be, either if you're going to ignore them for like 1 year or 2 years, or if you're completely going to break contact, if you're just going to move out and just, avoid your parents for the rest of your life, keep in mind and remember that these are the people who brought you to this world. And yes, you're maybe ungrateful, and you're like, it was not my choice, it was their choice to bring me to this world. But no, not 100%, because it was also God's choice. So remember, you came here for a reason, and you chose your parents, by the way. You chose them in the soul world before coming down to this earth. God showed you your life, and you knew what kind of parents you're gonna have, and what kind of life you're gonna have, and what kind of people you're gonna be surrounded with, or what kind of house you will have, or whatever. You knew, and you chose them. And of course, you will not remember this anymore because you're a human now. So remember that your parents, they also chose you as a child. as a soul. Their souls chose your soul, and your soul chose their souls, and everything else in your life. And so give them a chance and give yourself a chance and start to forgive and heal. Because if we don't forgive and if we don't heal, nothing is going to work. Like, our lives are going to be so miserable, and there are always going to be some problems, And if you just move out and if you avoid your parents for the rest of your life, something else will come, the same problem will come from your child, for example, or from the parents of your husband, for example, or from your wife, whatever. And it will always chase you, that problem, if you don't forgive your parents, or if you don't heal, and if you're not going to find a solution to this problem. And so please remember that next time when you make a choice, what kind of choice, I don't mind what kind of choice it will be, you have to keep in mind that you are able to do everything, to decide for yourself and to decide for your life. Because what I did on that day when I came back home from my neighbor is that when I came home, my parents, they were in the living room, okay? So, I realized that, oh my God, I can change literally everything. I have the chance and I have the possibility to now change the whole situation. So what did I do? I came home and I said, Mom, Dad, and it was so weird because I was not talking to them for so many months, and then all of a sudden I just say Mom, Dad, and it was so weird because I don't know, we just didn't exchange any words for so many months. So what I did was I came home, I said, Mom, Dad, I would like to talk to you. And I was already crying because I'm so sensitive, and I'm just so emotional, and because it hit me so hard, because what my neighbor said is it hit me so hard, and because I realized and the real meaning and everything. And so that parents, they're also a gift from God, and why am I treating them that way, or why am I deciding consciously to not talk to them? So, and because they will die one day, or I will die one day, and then I will regret, and I don't want to regret anything. So I talked to them. I said, please, let's start again. Let's start a new chapter. Let's get to know each other this time, like for real. And let's try to understand each other. Let's talk to each other. Let's clarify everything, and let's start again. Let's begin again, and let's start a new chapter together. And let's really work on this relationship, because let's work on us, because really, all my life, as I said, I really had a bad relationship with my parents, and with my mom sometimes it was okay, but with my dad it was never okay. And so. But I have the biggest trust issues because of this, because of all the things I went through. And I even have trust issues with my parents. I can't trust them fully because of the things I went through. And as I said, maybe one day I'm gonna tell you all the details of what happened, but I'm still not ready. Even though my friend, she said, Ruki, you have to talk about the things you're avoiding. You have to really talk about the things that you're avoiding to share and that you're scared of. And there's so many things that I'm still scared of to talk about. And but let's see how it will go. So please remember that first, you're the decision maker of your own life. You have the ability to change your life, and you can change your life today, now, right now. Second, life is too short, life is precious, time is precious, and time is running fast, and so please move now. Third, your parents are a gift. Remember, you chose your parents, and you're also able to change everything and to improve the relationship between your parents, no matter what happens, no matter what. Of course, there are some mistakes which are not okay, But you have to decide for yourself what you want to do with your life or what you want to do with your parents. So and also fourth, remember that it's also the first time for your parents. Like, they're also living for the first time. It's their first life, and they also came here, and they also had a child for the first time in their life. And especially when you're the first child, I feel you, and I know you can feel me. And so yeah. Remember these things and choose wisely, like decide for yourself, and just make conscious choices, and take care of yourself. Take care of yourself, take care of your parents, take care of your life. And so please stay with love and gratitude. I'm wishing you a beautiful day, and as I said, take care of yourself.